Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I recently did a video about the new Seeker molds for Transformers, and I was kind of annoyed because I had just given in because they had just recolored the old Seeker mold for the Studio series with Starscream. So I thought, well, they're not going to do a new mold; they're just going to recolor them all for Studio series. So I bought some of the older ones and was just debating: do I get Thundercracker and Skywarp in the 2-pack, or do I wait for them to recolor them for Studio Series? I was just going to get the Studio Series ones, and now they've apparently done a new mold, and I'm like, when's that going to start? Because it looked like Thundercracker was just a recolor of the old mold in with the reflector set, and I'm like, well, so that's a bit of a mess. But I recently saw that they've redone the turtles again. They did a set of turtles recently, or maybe a year ago, I'm not sure, and it was like the original turtle designs, but they had more articulation and they were sort of a little bit more cartoon accurate, but still that same sort of original Playmate style. And I thought, interesting, but they also textured them with all these little dots and spots and things, and they just looked like they just had this extra level of surface detail, like scales and dots, and I didn't like them, so I sort of was like, don't think so. They've re-released those apparently, and I think they're calling them remastered, the remastered version or something. And it's the same figures. It's like a new cartoon accurate Splinter and a more cartoon accurate Shredder who can actually stand up and isn't stuck in that pose. Although he's a little slim. Some people were pointing out that he probably could have been a bit thicker. And the turtles that look very much like they did, but because these other recent ones, because they seem to be just reworkings of that Black Horse mold, or whatever you want to call it, and they were a little darker and they had the extra skin texture. These ones are more coloured like the original ones, but they still obviously are the different mold with the different articulation and everything. And I just recently got the turtles, so like I got the box set of the 6 figures, and I got the party van, party wagon, and I was like, yeah, I finally have them. But it's like I was never really happy with Shredder. So the idea of having a new Shredder that actually isn't stuck in this, like, this is not very playable and it's hard to stand up. I never understood why they did that with him. The turtles are pretty cool, and I did get ones that I thought were more cartoon accurate. The green, lighter green ones there. They're more like the generic, like, ones you see in like the annuals and that, where they're really light green and they kind of look like the cartoon versions, but they're actually not the actual cartoon accurate ones. So I still don't have cartoon accurate turtles. I think Ultimates did a set. I know there's a set somewhere that I've got to get still. So I got the movie ones from NECA, and I got the original Playmates reissues, but I still don't have like a set that looks exactly like the ones from the cartoon and feels like the ones from the cartoon. So I'm now annoyed that they've done like another version of the original classic ones, and it's like, well, I want them because they have the extra articulation, and Splinter and Shredder look a lot better. The turtles themselves, not so much. Maybe I could just buy Shredder and Splinter separately, but I think I saw them as in one set together. So I'm not sure if they're selling them separately, but yeah. So I still need. So I just sort of want to talk about that for a minute. Like, what do people think of retooling something so soon? Because they just gave us this set of turtles with the articulation, but no one really liked all the extra surface detail, which I think is based more on how they looked in the comic. And then they've just redone it again, and I do kind of feel like they just re-release things and rejig things a bit too much, a bit too easy, and it's sort of frustrating because it's like, what we want, just give us what we want. They always seem to give us almost what we want, and then they'll alter it, but not quite, and it's like, are they really just not sure what we want, or are they just manipulating us and just giving us almost what we want so we'll buy the same item over and over again? Because that sounds very cynical, but then you look at the history of some of these toy lines, and it does seem like what they're just doing. Like, I wanted an original Turtles set. I had the original Turtles when I was a kid. I had all of them. I didn't have the party wagon, the party van, whatever it's called, but I had all the figures. and I was guilted into giving them to my niece because she liked turtles when she was younger. Like my sister was guilted into giving my other niece all her Barbies, so we gave up a lot of our toys, and then they just trashed them and threw them out and didn't respect them anyway. So my turtle collection was decimated for no reason. I kept all my Thundercats and Master Universe and stuff like that because my niece didn't like any of that stuff, so I got to keep them. But the other stuff I had to give to her. So I had to go out and rebuy it all, and getting it all in one set with a nice collectible box, which looked like the party van, was pretty cool. Yeah, I do like the idea of a cartoon accurate version or an Ultimates version or a reworked version of the original toys. But where does it end? You know, I don't want to be buying these things 5 times over. I've already got 3 sets of turtles now. I think 5 is my maximum. A reworked version of the originals and an animated cartoon, accurate one. I think that's what